Ravi trudged home, his shoulders slumped with exhaustion. Another day, another rial earned under the scorching Saudi sun. He missed the familiar sights and sounds of his village in India, the spicy aroma of samosas, the laughter of children playing cricket in dusty streets, the comforting presence of his family. Here, he was just another face in the crowd, another laborer yearning for home. His small, rented room offered little comfort. He ate his simple meal of rice and dal, the silence deafening. Sighs. He missed his family dearly, his wife Rani, with her quick wit and infectious laugh, his little son Vijay, who was just learning to ride a bicycle. He clung to the hope of returning home soon, his pockets a little heavier, his dreams a little closer. But for now, he was just tired, his body aching, his heart heavy.
As the sun began to dip below the horizon, the sky transformed into a canvas of fiery hues. Orange, pink, and purple danced across the clouds, casting a warm glow over the bustling town. The air, still thick with the day's heat, began to cool slightly, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of spices and strong coffee. The call to prayer echoed through the streets, a reminder of faith and tradition. Shopkeepers began to close up for the day, their faces etched with fatigue. Groups of men gathered in small cafes, sipping tea and discussing the day's events. Children, their laughter echoing through the narrow alleyways, chased each other, their energy boundless. Life in the town continued at its own pace, a vibrant tapestry of sights, sounds, and scents. Ravi stepped out of his room, seeking solace in the cool evening air. He walked towards the marketplace, drawn by the familiar sounds of human activity. The marketplace was a sensory overload. Vendors hawked their wares, their voices competing with the bleating of goats and the rumble of passing trucks. The aroma of grilled meat mingled with the sweet smell of dates and strong Arabic coffee. Ravi walked aimlessly, his thoughts a jumbled mess.
Suddenly, a flash of white fur caught his eye. A small, mischievous-looking goat was attempting to climb onto a fruit vendor's cart, its eyes fixed on a bunch of plump grapes. The vendor, a burly man with a thick moustache, shooed the goat away with a gruff shout. The goat, unfazed, simply trotted a few steps back and stared longingly at the grapes. Chuckles. The goat's antics were a welcome distraction from his own thoughts. As he watched the goat, he noticed its resilience. It refused to give up on the grapes, its determination unwavering. Even as the vendor continued to shoo it away, it found new ways to try and reach its prize. Ravi felt a strange connection with the animal. It was just trying to survive, just like him. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small piece of roti left over from his dinner. He crouched down and offered it to the goat. The goat, initially wary, cautiously approached Ravi, sniffing the air. It took the bread from his hand, its soft lips brushing against his fingers. For a moment, their eyes met, and Ravi felt a strange sense of peace wash over him. It was a small, insignificant encounter, but it had lifted his spirits in a way he hadn't expected.
The commotion had attracted a small crowd.
A few curious onlookers had gathered around, their faces a mix of amusement and confusion.
An old man, his white beard flowing down to his chest, chuckled and said something to Ravi in Arabic.
Ravi, unable to understand the words, simply smiled and shrugged, gesturing towards the goat.
The old man nodded, a knowing look in his eyes.
He spoke again, this time slower, trying to bridge the language barrier.
Ravi picked up a few words. Haram, forbidden, hayawan, animal. He understood the old man was warning him about feeding the mischievous goat.
He tried to explain, his hands gesturing wildly, that he meant no harm, that he just wanted to share his food with the persistent creature.
His broken Arabic, mixed with Hindi and a few English words, only seemed to amuse the old man further. The crowd grew larger, drawn by the spectacle of a foreigner trying to communicate.
Children pointed and giggled, their parents trying to hush them.
Ravi, initially embarrassed, found himself laughing along. The situation was absurd, yet oddly heartwarming. Despite the language barrier, there was a sense of community, a shared understanding that transcended words.
As the crowd dispersed, Ravi continued to watch the goat.
It was now happily munching on a discarded cabbage leaf, oblivious to the chaos it had caused.
Ravi envied its carefree attitude.
The goat didn't worry about tomorrow. It didn't carry the weight of the world on its small shoulders. It simply existed, finding joy in the simplest of things, a juicy piece of fruit, a discarded vegetable, a moment of shared kindness.
Ravi realized that he too could choose to focus on the simple things.
He had a roof over his head, food in his belly, and a family back home who loved him. He had a purpose, a reason to keep going.
The goat, in its own way, had reminded him of that.
It was a lesson in resilience and finding joy in unexpected places. Life was full of challenges, but it was also full of small moments of grace, moments that could lift the spirit and renew the soul.
Ravi thought of his family back home.
He would tell them about the mischievous goat, about the kindness of strangers, about finding a moment of peace in the chaos of a foreign land.
With a newfound lightness in his step, Ravi turned away from the marketplace and started walking back towards his room.
The sun had almost disappeared below the horizon, leaving behind a sky awash in soft hues of pink and purple. The call to prayer echoed through the town once more, a soothing melody that seemed to calm his soul.
He thought about the goat, about its unwavering determination, its ability to find joy in the smallest of things.
He thought about his own life, about the challenges he faced, about the dreams he held close to his heart. He was just a small part of a much larger world, but he had a role to play.
He would keep going, keep working, keep hoping for a brighter future.
As he reached his room, he took one last look at the sky. The stars were beginning to appear, twinkling like diamonds scattered across a velvet cloth.
Ravi smiled.
He was tired, but he was no longer lost. He had found a moment of peace, a moment of connection, a moment of